Time for another video, guys. Had several requests. They're wanting to know how can the Dark Elves beat the vampire counts. First off, let me say this, that as we all know, the demons and the vampires are the top two armies in the game. The Dark Elves, I would say, are in the top 5 armies. They're not quite the same level as the vampires or the the vampires or the demons, but they are in the either number 3, 4, or 5, depending on who you talk to. Undead armies live and die by the magic phase, whether it's Tomb Kings or vampire counts. If you can shut down or interrupt the magic phase, you stand a good chance in beating these armies. First thing you have to make sure of when you're facing these armies is you have at least 2 magic users. In our case, it would be a sorceress. They need to be level 2s, and you need at least 2 dispel scrolls. I'd also take I believe it's the Seal of Grond that gives you, or the Dark Star Cloak. One of those gives you the +1 dispel dice. I would look into that also. Our dark magic spells have some good damage spells in them. They're great for hurting his units, and I would recommend that one of your 2 sorceresses take dark magic. The other one needs to take fire. The reason I mention fire is a lot of vampire players out there, they have I think it's a Drakenhof, or however you say it. One of their banners gives a unit regen. Well, if you hit that unit, it does D6 Strength 4. This is assuming you get Fireball. You get Fiery Blast, it's even better. But it does D6 Strength 4 hits. Well, they don't get regen when you hit them with fire. So that is one of the best things to help taking out some of those guys. If I knew I was facing vampire counts and I was playing a 2,000 point game, I would most likely take 3 sorceresses. They'd either be all level 2s and a Dreadlord. And the reason I'd say a Dreadlord is because you need that leadership 10 in your army to help against when you get charged. Well, against fear, and he's going to probably have 1 or 2 terror units in there also. If you like the Dark Elf magic, which it is, like I said, pretty good, and you go a level 4 sorceress and then a couple of level 2s, then I would probably recommend a Battle Standard Bearer with either the Hydra banner, depending on your setup, or go with an assassin. I don't field assassins a lot of times. They are cool, and in certain games they're very good. But they're 150 to 70 points, and they're pretty much naked, and they can give a hit, but they can't take one. Anyways, continuing on with the magic phase and the characters and the vampires. Everybody in the vampire army, with the exception of the White King, is a magic user. Vampires are a magic user. Vampire lords are a magic user, of course, and necromancers. You don't see a lot of people fielding necromancers. They prefer the little bit more fighty ability of the vampire, and I don't blame them. If I was a vampire player, I would too. One thing to note is his characters are expensive because they combine a fighty character and basically a magic user. One thing to note is they get 50 points of magic items and 50 points of vampire powers for their hero level stuff. For their lord level stuff, they get 100 points of each. Okay, the first thing we got to think of is if you're facing off against a vampire player, if you get a chance to kill the vampire, go for it. But at a minimum, he is toughness 5 with 3 wounds, and that's not counting if he runs a special character. Some of the special characters like Manfred are just stupidly gross and good with 5 wounds. If he's running Manfred, the best thing I'd recommend is you guys pick off all of his supporting spellcasters before trying to assassinate him. A regular vampire or the hero level is only level, he is toughness 4 with 2 wounds. A group of shades, if they get the charge off with their great weapons, attacking to the front can assassinate the vampire. Even if you get Blade Wind off, which is one of our spells, you can target a unit champion and or character with 1 hit. It's a good way. You won't kill the vampire unless he's already wounded. What you're forcing him to do is heal the vampire and not raise more units. Okay, let's just talk about the vampires and their magic. They have certain spells. They can summon a new unit of zombies. They can add or heal every unit in their game, which is crazy. That's sort of like what Tomb Kings can do, but they can heal every unit. The thing you got to worry about the most is the Dance Macabre. He has a magic item that'll let him do the dance, and he also has the spell. The Dance Macabre can take a crappy unit of skeletons or zombies and hit you in the flank, and now you're losing through static combat res because he took away your ranks, and he gets +1 for flank, even with a crappy unit, even if he does no wounds. Let's talk about what units would I take if I was going to go up against the vampires. Shades are in. Cold One Knights are possibly in. Reaper, Repeater Bolt Thrower, sorry, in. Hydra should be in. Witch Elves, I'm not a real big fan of the girls, but you know what? Against Undead, their Frenzy and all the attacks and poison, they can just waylace to Undead. I would take them. And don't let the vampire player try to say that, oh, I'm undead, therefore your poison doesn't work. Well, that was true in 5th edition. We're in 7th edition, so yes, it does work. Might want to think about Corsairs with their Sea Serpent banner. Gives them Frenzy also. These guys are good for killing down, like I said, his core units, zombies, skeletons, and be a little wary of his ghouls, because ghouls have 2 attacks and poison. You know, our army, we hit hard, but we're still toughness 3 and an elf, which means we don't have much armor, so them poison attacks can put a hurting on us. Blackguard with the Always Strike First banner are a must. This is going to secure your battle lines. This will anchor it. He won't be able to hopefully break this unit unless you lose combat and roll a 10 or higher. I would probably leave my Chariot at home. Also probably leave the Executioners at home. These guys have their places, but against vampires, they don't really perform that well. A phase that we definitely rule is the shooting phase. He has only 1 unit that can shoot, and it's a Banshee. Be careful of this nasty, ugly little lady. Her scream has a range of, I think it's 8 inches. It is basically 2d6 plus 2 minus your leadership. That's the number of wounds you take. He will target this. He will use her to target our very good units. Repeater crossbows would be great for shooting down his skeletons, his zombies, even his grave guard if they don't have the Drakenhof banner on it. These guys, you need at least 1 unit of these guys to keep shooting and forcing him to replenish troops. I'd also take 2 repeater bolt throwers. These guys, you can use them to target cavalry and also the grave guard, and they'll do pretty good damage there. One thing to note is if you take 3 magic users, you need to make sure that your 4th hero, either a fighty character or an assassin, has some kind of magic weapon, because he has access to 2 units that are ethereal, which means they can only be hurt by magic weapons. Those are the Spirit Host and Karen Wraiths. We have magic missile spells that can hurt these units too, but it's always good to have, like I said, an assassin or a fighty character with a magic weapon. Target priority, target priority, target priority with our shooting. That's a phase we rule in. Close combat phase, we also rule in. Our guys are typically better. His units that you need to be wary of if he has them, Blood Knights. These guys are frenzied. They're gross. 3 attacks at strength 7 on the charge. Avoid these guys. They will crush anything in our army, including the Hydra, which I forgot to mention. You definitely want a Hydra in this army. His Black Knights, which I think are a better buy, they're about half the price. These guys are strength 6 on the charge with killing blow. They're pretty gross too. Do not try to take a charge from these guys unless it is with your Blackguard. And if the Blackguard get charged by the Blood Knights, he'll probably just trash the whole unit. So try to avoid that. Don't think twice about fleeing. That's one thing us Dark Elf players do. We flee and regroup pretty well. Flee and then countercharge. Hit his units in the flanks, therefore taking away his ranks. You get in superior combat resolution. You should win. He crumbles faster. Good times for us. One thing to note, if the Hydra gets a chance, if your Hydra has a line of sight to his lord that is the vampire, sacrifice the Hydra. What I mean is take the Hydra, charge that unit, direct all 7 attacks at his vampire. You should be able to kill him with a good enough rolls. If you don't kill him, you have 2 Beastmasters that have 3 attacks each. Yeah, I know it's strength 3, and he's going to be toughness 5 if he's a lord level with armor piercing. Might not do much good, but go after the regular unit that he's in. But like I said, the Hydra is pretty good at picking out and killing or assassinating his vampire. Well, guys, this was, like I said, sort of a quick overview Tactica video. Actually, it's more of an audio. I wanted to try doing this something a little different format than what I've done before with the videos. I hope the guys that requested this information, they find it useful, and good luck. I've played vampires 3 or 4 times in the last 2 to 3 months, and trust me, guys, they can be beaten. Our army is set up for doing it. I have yet to lose to these guys. You got to know which of his units to take apart, which units to avoid. If you see 30 or 40 zombies, try to avoid that unit, but he's going to move it and try to tie up our units. Anyways, good luck, take care, and this is the Fool signing out.